Saints fans, another win, another joke at the end of the episode. So we're feeling pretty bright around here at Saints TV. Wasn't the most convincing of wins, but nonetheless, it's 4 points on the board. We're back inside the 8 for this round, and we're feeling okay about St Kilda Football Club. I don't know if we're feeling okay, but it's there. It's there, and it's a very unique episode tonight because we've had to make the sub.
The super sub.
The super sub, circa 2013. Because our good friend Marshy is off at the hospital expecting his firstborn tonight, so we're all really excited to welcome Matilda into the world. We hope it all goes well for him, and I'm sure he'll be back in next week with a big smile on his face. But for now, couldn't have asked for better. We've got the super sub in, Deano, Marshy's brother, who I only just found out was Marshy's brother. And no one disclosed it to me, and everyone assumed I should know. And I didn't. That's probably my fault. And it looks exactly... Well, that's what I said when he walked in. I was like, oh, great. It's just a red-headed version of Marshy. This is fantastic. It's like I'm sitting across from the great man. But without further ado, Deano, welcome.
Thanks, boys. Great to be on for the first time.
Yeah, and what do you have to say?
A bit of yip for all the lads and listeners.
Yes, absolutely.
Held at gunpoint to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Say it.
No,
Yeah. So,
good to be
how
here.
you feeling?
Yeah, good, man. Like the Starks always have to have a Stark in Winterfell, you always got to have a Marshy up on the podcast.
There we go.
Absolutely. Good win on the weekend. Well, not good win, but average win. It was just nice to kind of get the win and look forward to the next 3 weeks, because if it breaks our way, we can have some really good games of footy up ahead of us.
Absolutely. Some telling results on the weekend from other teams as well. And Godfather.
Yes.
You've got a new partner in crime here, a new PIC.
Yeah. The energy's good.
It is. I was going to say, he started off with a little anecdote and a little bit of a Game of Thrones sort of metaphor.
I didn't even
in there.
get that. I've never seen the show, so they went way over my head.
Well, yeah, I know, like most of Marshy's jokes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it's a good fit, isn't it? It's a good
Absolutely.
fit. Yeah.
It's Game of Thrones or it's Melbourne Storm references.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
One or the other, yeah.
Yeah, spot on. Well, how are you feeling, Jakey?
Yeah, good. Yeah, after the game on the weekend, I kind of got sucked into a bit of the negativity about the way we played, and then how the rest of the weekend panned out. And you look at all the results. Some of the top teams played really poor. Everyone had a bit of a mixed result. Freo got done. Brisbane Lions looked shaky.
42
The Dogs lost. Carlton, they've got a very tough next 3 weeks. Carlton.
Yeah.
I think they've got Melbourne, Brisbane, and Collingwood in the next 3. So they could well be the team that could open the door for us if we get a bit lucky with some of our results. So when you look at the other results and then you look at ours, you're like, last quarter was bad, but we still got the win. Still got the 4 points.
Yeah, absolutely. There were some things starting to tie together that I noticed on the replay that were a bit hard to see on the ground. But a few moments of play where I was like, okay, that seems pretty new and, that seems pretty polished. So, and we just weren't able to finish, essentially.
Yeah,
kicked 10 goals, 15, turn that around 15 goals, 10, we still win by 40 plus points. So it was an interesting result and it was a very, very interesting game. We'll talk about the gameplay, I think, coming towards the end of the segment, but what I want to talk about is some individual efforts and players. We'll get going on a positive note here because there was just some outstanding performances on the weekend, and I feel like this bloke has been building to an outstanding performance. He had a great game against Sydney when we got done. He's had a few really good weeks in a row, and it's Rowan Marshall.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
30 disposals from a ruckman is ridiculous. 35 hit-outs, like 5 or 6 inside 50s, clearance numbers through the roof. It was just awesome to see. Like, you were at the ground, Deano.
Yeah.
And where were you sitting? You're aisle 29?
Yeah, a bit of an interchange. So aisle 29 and then onto the wing.
Yep.
And then back into the aisle 29. Just following the footy like you're at a locals game, to be honest. Yeah, and it was good. Marshall, he just looked physically imposing. We've kind of lacked that centre half forward connection. So he's kind of giving that with our good marking option.
Yeah.
And it's just really good to watch him. And he's pressuring that fourth, a few tackles in the forward line, got everyone out of their seats. So I love to see the physicality he was bringing as well.
You're right. He decided on the night before that ball went up, I'm the biggest bloke here, and he played like it, didn't he? So it was finally good to see him come back into that sort of 2019 vein of, no, I'm the big boy, you know, and he's got to be almost, along with maybe Gorney, the best two-way ruckman at the moment in terms of getting back in defence and going forward and doing all of that. He didn't hit the scoreboard, but his defensive efforts were fantastic, and as you said, his tackling and pressure was through the roof.
He had 7 tackles or something like that.
Oh,
did he?
something stupid like that. That's for excellent. A ruckman. Yeah, 7 tackles, 9 marks, 21 kicks, 30 disposals at 73% efficiency. And
it's nuts.
What I love from Rowan Marshall is he always puts the ball to advantage of his players. He doesn't put it on their head. He doesn't put it behind them. He puts them out in front to run onto it. The perfect kick of the football is Rowan Marshall around the ground. So, you know, just props to Rowan.
And he got the best on ground award. I forget the name of the actual award, but
is it the police one?
Yeah.
That's
so
good.
He got that well deserved.
Yeah. And Tom Campbell would be watching it, and he'd be a bit nervous because you see that one ruckman just dominate with Lena giving me a hit out, and Tom Campbell probably thought he was going to play on the weekend. Yeah. And to get knocked back, and then that performance, you'd be questioning whether Tom Campbell's probably going to play again this year if that continues.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tom Campbell was replaced by Machado Owens.
Yeah, that was the laid out. And then Owens comes in and did a great job as well.
He was brilliant. He was he got set the task of James Sicily to take him away from the aerial contests, and James Sicily for the match, if I might have a look here, 16 disposals, averages 20 plus for every game that he's played this year, and also averages, I think, around 9 to 10 marks per game, and he's leading the competition in marks. He was only able to manage 6 on the weekend.
That's a win.
It's a massive win. Yeah, so that's some really nice strategic play there from Brett Ratton, which we've been waiting on.
It's almost like, well, that's Sharman's role, you know, when he was playing forward and Sharman was playing back. And it looks like he'll stay there.
Yeah.
They needed to find someone that could still be that 6'3", 6'4", mid-sized forward that isn't Membry. And, he's put his hand up to do that. Yeah. He did a great job.
Absolutely. So, I think, you know, very commendable effort from him.
Yep.
Along with Marcus Twinhager. Now, John Newcomb got away from him in the last quarter because he put the Jets on.
Yeah. Kicked a couple.
And kicked a couple. That's exactly right. So, Marcus Twinhager for the first 3 quarters was going head-to-head.
Yeah.
And did, again, another good job. But, again, got away from him, as did the whole Hawthorn team.
Yeah, he wasn't the only one.
Yeah,
it was the whole team.
Yeah, that's spot on. And he's one of your younger players, so can be forgiven for that. Jack Steele, just doing Jack Steele things. You know, head over the ball, extracting, getting in and under.
Running a few nice inside 50s, kicked it to advantage, one and breaking away, running with the footy a bit more, which is good.
Yeah. They're spreading the roles a bit more with Crouchy having that first half that he had.
Yeah, and I think even Hannah's being back. We haven't mentioned him, but 27 and a goal. That's a big tick, isn't it?
Yeah, that's an unbelievable comeback. I mean, you would have seen a lot more of his sort of running at ground level.
Yeah.
Did he mainly scope the wing, or did you see him getting more involved in...
You really noticed him around that half forward line, get that release ball, and his inside 50s were incredible.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't... It makes you think about some of our other midfielders, and are they that damaging when they kick it inside 50?
Yeah.
And Hanbury, you just reminded what an A-grade midfielder looks like in terms of how to use the footy. Because I don't think... Ross has been good. Crouch isn't quite there. And I think Steele isn't quite that damaging. But you look at Henry and his kick can change a game.
Yeah. That kick to King. It was like a metre off the ground.
Yeah.
I don't think any of our other mids really would either see it or execute it as quickly as he did.
Yeah, spot on. Yeah. And he knew it was coming as well. Yeah. He didn't want to bomb. He didn't want to bomb. He wanted to look for that short kick that he could get around on his left foot, swing around on his left foot and get. And he is almost the missing link that, you know, we've been missing for this whole year. We constantly get stuck on the wing without anyone that can deliver it with purpose inside the 50, the forward 50. So to have him back was a breath of fresh air.
And his leadership too. Like, I loved even, like 2 minutes in, he's already like pointing at defenders and other mids saying, get on him while I go over here. And
Yeah.
just that communication.
When I was on the wing, I noticed everyone was on the bench. He was standing on the boundary line yelling at people. And I'm like, that's huge to see. I haven't seen that for a while.
Yeah, we've talked about it on the podcast multiple times over the past 5 weeks that we really lack on-field management. And that brings on-field management, doesn't it? So, you know, it's just, it's awesome to see. If he can play like that, you know.
Just, I don't know. You just
so what's the rest of the season look like for him? What does he need to do for that contract, you think? Or does 4 games get him the contract with the Saints?
Regardless of like how well he does, just get through them.
If he gets through them and he plays 20 plus touches a game, are the Saints looking at re-signing him?
I would re-sign him and, you know, not have him on that massive money again.
Yeah, be a modest 1-year deal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
earn it.
Yeah,
that's exactly right. And you get your bonuses on top of that. So it would be a bonus-heavy contract in terms of games played. So it's like your match payments would be relatively high.
Yeah, you get
20 plus disposals. It'd be even higher. So
and it just felt like even Steele, I feel like seeing Hannah's do some of the things that he did, he kind of lifted him to do that too. Like that passage where it was, who was it? Was it Sinks and Hannah's that actually clashed?
Yes.
Funnily enough, it was Hannah's, wasn't it?
Yeah,
they didn't talk. He just came off the bench. They smashed into each other. Right after that, next bounce, Steely's got both of them together and just like having a chat to both of them.
Yeah.
And then they just dispersed. I'm like, that's good.
That's exactly
right. That's what a captain should do.
Yeah, correct. And it also takes that, having Hanbury there also reminds Steele that you don't have to try and do everything.
Yeah.
You know, you can just play your game and you've got help around you.
Yeah.
And Hannah's was that help. He was help on the, you know, on the weekend. So I think if we can play, we've been dying for a decent half forward flanker. Dying for it. Someone with skill, someone with purpose. And Dan Hanbury is that man. So him either on the wing or that half forward flank is just a game changer.
Yep.
So,
for sure.
You know, he's a fantastic footballer. He's just got to keep his body right.
Yeah. What did you guys think of the after game, him leading the song?
Yeah, I've heard. I actually didn't see the song, and I had a lot of people message afterwards saying that they loved it, and then a few people saying, "Wow, why did we let him do that when he's only played one game in 10 million years?"
Yeah,
I didn't see it. Did you? I'm guessing.
No, I haven't seen it, but I've read about it, and
we'll hear it at the end of the year.
Yeah, definitely. So we won't be able to talk about it, but
he's. I feel like I don't know. He cops a fair bit from the fan base with in regards to like how much he gets paid and how many games he's missed. But what can you do when you're
internally?
Injured?
If you watch a guy constantly rehab himself and rebuild himself, and then he gets done year after year, and you see him come into a game and he's that passionate about footy, you got to love.
That's
him
it.
at
You
the
got to
club.
love that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We want more players like that. I remember
he's got energy.
Last week we looked at Marshy, the other Marshy, looked at the song, and there were certain players, I won't name names, but there were certain players that were literally not singing the song.
Yes.
They were like joking and pulling ears and all that shit that footballers do these days. Not singing at all, not paying attention to the culture.
Not enjoying
being around your mates that you just want a game with.
Yeah.
At least Hannah's does that.
Yeah.
We need more players to be doing that.
Yeah. Spot on.
And when you haven't sung the song for that long, you'd be dying to. Because the last time he sung it was Bulldogs, wasn't it?
Was it the
final? I don't know. Did he play 2021?
He would have played at least a couple, right? 21?
21, I can't remember.
Oh, in 21 he played... he would have played in the Geelong game last year, didn't he?
Maybe.
Late in the year? I can't remember.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
It's like that friend you never see.
Yeah, exactly. You forget how good they are until they come back and you're like, oh, fuck, why don't we hang out more? In terms of our forward line, it's messy at the moment.
That's a kind way of putting it.
But messy, it only became messy because we spilt the paint all over the canvas once we'd finished the job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we got the ball in there. We hit targets. We had marks inside 50. Our forward pressure was the best it's been all year. We had a crazy amount of tackles inside forward 50. Ben Long had 7 or something
7.
inside forward 50, which is just fantastic. So our team play was there. But you've got blokes like King kicking 2 goals, 5. Membry missing 2 set shots.
That hurt when I saw Membry miss a couple of those, because both times I'm pretty sure they were just great leads and then great kicks on to advantage, and he took the mark, and I'm like, perfect, just finish the job, and then you don't. And then you see the midfielder that kicked it to him, and they're like, heads down, you're like, come on forwards, like you got to keep the mids kind of hungry to kick like that.
Yeah, that's
because the mids will
exactly
start
right.
bombing it if they don't trust their forwards.
Yeah, and I can tell you what set it off at the start of the match. It was the fact that Mason Wood did kick a set shot, because usually he misses all of them.
Yeah.
So he kicked the set shot, so everyone else went off. Usually it's him off and everyone else is kicking set shots. So it's his fault. Nah, just kidding. But I think that Max King, he was playing a weird role throughout the game. There was very brief periods where you went, okay, that's Max King.
Yeah.
You know, he was doing some things that he shouldn't be doing. He shouldn't be getting ground ball gets and snapping over his shoulder and everything like that. That's not his job. So why put him in that position? You know, why aren't you playing deep? Why aren't you leading up out of the square?
Yeah.
It's just confusing.
Do you think he played up ground a bit more this game?
He did. Look, they sent him up the ground and put Membry as the deepest forward in the third quarter, I think. And I don't mind Kingy moving up the ground to find some ball, but the fact of the matter is Hawthorn wanted to play him one-on-one and have James Sicily there chopping out their defender. And we were taking care of James Sicily, so why weren't we looking for King more? Or why was he not playing deeper? I think that's the biggest issue, is we looked up, every time we looked up, King was hanging around in the pocket for some reason.
He loves the pockets.
It's weird.
Yeah.
He thinks he can hide. He's the tallest man on the field.
And they're stagnant as well.
Yeah.
They get that ball in that half forward, and we just get stuck there. And you saw it a few times. No one moved. Everyone waited for that long bomb.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And it's not ideal.
No.
There was a passage, might have been in the first or the second quarter, when the game was at its ugliest, I would say.
Yeah.
And level 3, perfect view. We get the ball kind of on the wing and then chip it forward maybe 15, 20 metres. The next kick's going inside 50. Our defenders, like there was Webster, there was Sharman, they were in the 50 pushing up, and the whole team was continually just moving forward, like a very slow wave. And I'm like, at some point, these players just need to stop at halfway and just leave space.
Well, I was going to say...
But they were taking up that space.
Yeah, and you've nailed why Hawthorn had to come back in that second half. Because they were just playing slingshot football.
They were getting
players.
high.
Yeah, we were so high trying to lock that ball in that they were just like, all right, well, we're just going to kick barrels to the centre of the ground, and all you blokes are going to be running backwards.
Yeah.
Good luck.
I just don't...
And we didn't do anything to counteract that. And it was just odd.
Wilkie was always the goalkeeper. I'll use him as that term. He was the last man back with their forward, whoever it might have been, maybe Lewis or something. But everyone else was past the wing.
Yeah,
like,
but you need 2 or 3 players
crowded.
back.
It's like a forward flood.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think the most useless thing about that is that you can't... It's like in basketball, where you just pass it around the top of the key, you pass it around outside the 3, you're constantly getting manned up, you're just looking for that opening. You're constantly looking for that opening, and you've got to be patient with it, but you've also got to be skillful. And that's just what we lacked. We just weren't thinking about it, and it was late in the game. We didn't care enough. We're like, we're far enough in front. But we had the foot on the throat. We just didn't want to press it down.
And it's on the flip side too, when we did have times where players were leading hard. Like, I feel sorry for Ben Long, because there was a passage where he was leading hard and he got pissed at Kingy for not kicking it to him. And Membry then went for a backup lead after Longy gave it to Kingy. And then Membry missed. He had heaps of space on his opponent, heaps of space in front. It's a 15-metre chip kick in front of him. Yeah. But King, from outside 50 on a tight angle, preferred to take the shot.
Yeah.
And even Membry went off at him. I'm like, oh boy, 2 players have gone off at King.
Yeah.
King's thinking about himself a bit too much.
Yeah, I was going to say, that was right in front of me.
Yeah, I'm like...
And I wasn't a big fan of it.
Not feeling good there. Yeah, and then he missed it.
Yep. Yeah, spot on.
Yeah.
And like that's the first time I've ever seen Membry 2 players go off at King for not handing it off.
Yeah.
And like I think there was a feeling of maybe there's a bit of selfishness, especially when he burned someone with a handball and tried to run through someone.
Yeah. When he took on Sicily.
You know why?
Yeah.
It's because he's desperate for goals.
Yeah.
He is desperate for goals because he's only been kicking 1-2 goals a week,
but he's having 8 shots.
5 weeks. Yeah, he's having 8 shots, but they're 8 useless ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's
the
like
pocket.
you've got to earn your goals. As a full forward, you have to earn your goals.
How many set shots did he have out of those 7?
I think he had 3.
Because he kicked one on the full,
One on the full.
kicked one set shot goal,
Yeah.
and then he missed one.
So he had 4.
Oh,
I think he had
4,
4
did he?
set shots. Yeah.
So if any forwards having 4,
yeah.
that's a pretty good day.
Yeah, but it's also where you're taking them as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
He takes them wide.
He takes them really wide. It's like what you were saying before. He loves to sit in the pocket and get that easy. He knows he can get that lead into space, and he's on the boundary and he can't do much with it.
Yeah. It's some weird running patterns, and again, we question the forward line coach and what he's teaching them. Because at the moment, it's just silly.
And you mentioned it in the potty chat. Higgins prefers his left foot snap from 45 than his right foot on a pretty simple 45-degree angle. And then they kicked a goal from that, Hawthorn.
Yeah.
Because their player took a set shot.
Yeah.
Newcomb, or is it Newcomb?
Yeah, John
He
Newcomb,
took a shot from the exact same spot on the ground.
Yeah, and nailed it.
Dropped punt and went straight through the middle.
Yeah. I don't get it. We are seriously bereft of skill in that
Is a
forward
snap
line.
a confidence thing?
Yes.
You think?
Yes.
Yeah.
By far.
What does that mean, though? What does that mean? He'd prefer to miss with his left and that lets him off the hook than if he misses with his drop punt?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
he's like,
He's
well,
not
I'm not
confident
going
on
to...
the drop punt.
Yeah.
How can you not be? How can an AFL footballer not be confident
with a drop punt?
drop punt under no pressure?
Yeah, I don't get it.
And from that distance
And
too.
from that
the
distance.
snap, I couldn't... Not many people can snap 45 with ease.
No,
No way.
If he's on the other
Only
side.
Ben Long has the license to do that. Yeah.
If he's on the other side and he snaps on his right, I get it, because that's what all small forwards do. But left foot on that angle?
It's
I
just
don't know.
odd. I think Jack Higgins to me just seems like a very bad overthinker when he's going into goal because of his past.
Yeah.
I think it's got to him, and he needs to put it behind him, have some set shots after training, have Kingy stand on the mark. This is one thing that I am so confused about with Max King as well. I've never seen someone so afraid of the man on the mark.
He gets close to him.
He gets so close to them. I don't get it. Why is this different for Max? Like, because he tries to, wherever he kicks from, he tries to run around him and use the stand rule to his advantage.
Yeah.
Bloke, you can kick a 60-metre drop punt.
I think that affects him because he hooks the ball more times than not.
Yeah, but...
So you're coming out wide and then you try to... Or he almost cuts across his body.
Yeah, it's just weird.
Just walk straight at goal.
Yeah, and I don't mind if you hook across your body. That's fine.
Yeah.
You know, if that's your natural leg swing, that's your natural leg swing. We've seen Buddy Franklin do it for the past 20 years. But
It wasn't when he debuted, though.
no, it's just odd, isn't it?
He fell short of one set shot, I think, because he got too close.
Yeah, it was the one, yeah.
He had to project it a bit up.
It went out of frame.
Yeah.
The ball went so high, it went out of frame.
Went out of the stadium.
Yeah.
Brought the rain down.
It was just ridiculous. So, anyway, concentrate on your set shot kicking this week, St Kilda, because you're going to need to kick goals and set shot goals
Every
against
chance
Geelong.
we get against that team,
Yeah, that's exactly right.
But it's also, you got to move the ball quick enough to be able to use space in the forward line.
Yeah,
and when
correct.
we're slow, we feel good because we know we're not going to turn it over and get burnt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we're afraid.
Yeah.
And
I was going to say, yet again, it was another soft game of footy. It wasn't a very hard game of footy. There was a couple of players that stood out with their bodies, like Rowan Marshall and Ben Long.
Or Dan Hanbury, when he went to intercept in the middle of the ground,
Yeah, he did.
copped it to the head, knees to the head. That was really good.
That was a brave effort.
Yeah.
But yet again, there was just it was just not a very physical game of footy.
Did you like Wood's physicality? I thought he did a few nice things. That Sicily moment where Sicily was on the boundary line, and he kind of just bodied him around.
Yeah, I love that.
And I'm like, Sicily's not a weak player.
No, not by any terms, means of the matter. But yeah, I don't know.
And Lena too. I thought he was pretty physical.
Yeah,
Use his body.
Lena's an interesting one for me, isn't
He was on the wing, though, and that...
Yeah, I don't know why we continuously try to play him on the wing when he's a defender and he feels so much more confident coming out of the back line.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've got him for his boot and his size, and he's just not hitting that many targets at the moment.
Is it a defensive move to put him on that wing? Because you think if he's a defensive player and it slows down, we can use him and throw him behind the midfield a bit?
Yeah, but I don't to what avail? Like, he's coming from the Sandful.
Yeah.
Port delisted him. You know, he's not this 100-game superstar that you can do that with. So
you'd rather Naz on that wing.
Yeah, spot on.
Or even Hilly. I noticed that Hilly started the game at that half-forward flank.
Yeah.
Similar to what he did when we played them last time, and he kicked 4 goals, and that was his best game of the year.
Yeah.
But he just didn't have that impact again. He had 15 and 1 mark, maybe, and I'm just not sure what we're trying to do with him, because then he went behind the ball a little bit.
Yeah.
Probably to find more possessions.
Yeah.
But
he seems a bit lost.
Right
now.
He's
back to being a bit lost.
And I think there's a lot of players that are very lost. And this is where I was going to bring it into conversation here, that this is just speculation, but I'm trying to figure out what's going on at the St Kilda Football Club and how we're trying to play football.
Yep.
For the past 5 to 6 years, it's been manic pressure and getting the ball forward as quickly as possible.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think we're trying to go through a transitional phase here, and this is why we're keeping Brett Ratton on, because we think that he can achieve it, and this is why we're playing some pretty ugly football at the moment. I think we're trying to change our idea,
brand.
and change our brand of football to suit more of a Melbourne style of football.
That's risky.
It's risky. I agree.
Didn't we do that with Richmond, with Richo and that? And we tried to play chaos football, and then that style went out of fashion.
Yeah.
And then we were still playing that way, but every other team was then playing a different way.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So, yet again, I fear that this is placing us behind the 8 ball.
Again, reactive.
We're not figuring out what we're good at. We're figuring out what everyone's good at. Or what someone else is best at.
And when Rats came in, we all kind of... we were kind of excited because we're like, great, he's worked under Clarko, he's getting Roughhead back, he's got Wrath, we're going to get that Hawthorn DNA.
Yeah.
We're going to be a really good kicking team.
Yeah.
Really good kicking team. We're going to outkick everyone and no one's going to stop us.
Yeah. And then
kicking's still a liability.
Because we've lost focus.
Now we're not a kicking team, are we?
We're not an anything team right now. We're a side that lacks a brand, because we're trying to do this transitional phase into a new style of football, and it's ugly.
Yeah.
Because we got found out in 2021.
Yeah.
We wanted to play that fast, manic brand of football, and then, of course, like that stand rule came in. And it's not all because of the stand rule, but it's defensive running and whatnot, and what people can be bothered doing. Or, you know...
Helps with fitness.
Yeah, it comes with fitness, exactly right. So, and that's where you see Richmond, with their brand of football... put their team now back 4 years ago, and they still win that premiership.
Yeah, they still play a very Richmond way.
They still play a very Richmond way, and it gets them over the line sometimes, but not often enough. Skill can take them apart, and handball chains. Yeah. That's the new thing. That's what we're seeing Geelong do. It's what we've seen Melbourne do. You know, little handball chains and then hitting up a target.
Yeah,
and we tried to do it once on the weekend, and it just got too cute.
Yeah.
It got way too cute. It ended up with Hunter Clark deciding whether he should go with his left or right.
Yeah.
And it just got intercepted.
That was frustrating.
It was a good build up until that point, pretty much.
And I'll take you back.
Yeah, and Dan Butler was running it too. And
when Butler handballed 25 metres to Higgins, when he should have hit him with a 15-metre kick or whatever it was.
Yeah, that's handball. They're trying to create handball chains, and it's ugly. And I'll remind you of when we came back after the bye, I think. Oh, no, it could have been against Melbourne. We tried to give it a crack through the corridor, and there was 3 or 4 of us all in a row.
Yeah.
Just handballing it to each other.
Yeah.
And we ended up stuffing it up, and they turned it over and kicked a goal.
Yeah. Handball works when you've got the wheels as well.
That's exactly right.
Some of those boys are pretty slow.
Yeah, and the courage.
We've got a few trucks in the midfield. Ross is surprisingly quick.
Yeah.
Hanbury looked really slow on the weekend. I just thought, did you see him try and... Who's number 15 for Hawthorn? Or 13?
I think 15 is Hardwick.
Hardwick.
Yeah.
He burnt Hanbury and he was running, and he got to the point where he just kind of had to stop because he knew he wasn't catching him.
Yeah, and he didn't want to pull a hammy.
Yeah,
exactly. So
we had nearly over 200 handballs against West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
We were going almost at one point in that game 1 kick to 1 handball.
Yeah.
Which is way too high.
Yeah.
Maybe because we were scared of that long kick forward as well. Because we don't have... Who's a good centre forward on our list?
No, that we lack.
And that's where your structure comes from as well. Like your forward, centre forward. And we don't have one.
Yeah.
Marshall, full forward. Ryder, full forward. King, full forward. Sharman, maybe, but really young.
And also not big enough.
Not big enough. And maybe that's where King could transition to. I know some people would hate that.
Yeah, but it'd be better for the team.
It's like a Joe Daniher. Like his game changed a lot more when he was a centre forward and he didn't have to mentally kick goals.
Yes.
And he thrived because he knew I just have to make contests.
Yeah.
I'd love someone like Myercheck on Saints.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Just a genuine centre half forward who can bust packs and lead up at the footy, you know. But King can be that. King can be anything. King can be anything he wants to put his mind to. But not only do you have to put your mind to it in football, you have to put your body to it.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's ready to put his body to it. I think he's still that protected species.
Yeah.
You know, we can't lose King. We can't lose King. So don't do too much with him. It's like, no, let the kid play.
He gets pushed around a lot on the ground as well. Mm-hmm. And I don't think he's dealt with it as well as he can. Like Tom Hawkins never gets pushed around like he would.
I think he's a different build.
He's different.
Yeah. Tom Hawkins is a different build. But that's the same with Cameron. Like, you know, Cameron's not as stocky as Tom Hawkins and can't hold off one bloke and take it in one hand. But in terms of movement and everything like that, there's two ways of approaching it. You can either put on size and go, don't bully me, I'll ruin you, like Tom Hawkins does, or you can keep moving. And that's why Jeremy Cameron gets up the ground and gets so much fucking ball, is because he keeps moving.
Yeah. Does King have the tank? Does he have the tank?
Well, that's the thing.
He's got the number 12, but I don't know if he's got that tank that Rui had.
We never see him in the time trials. He's never mentioned, really. I know it's a small...
And maybe that's his next step, because Rewalt didn't start his career with a massive... Like, he had a good tank, but he wasn't the elite runner until, like, maybe 2005, when he was going All-Australian every year.
Like that 2004, he came into it, but... That's because he started playing a genuine centre-half forward role. You know, you got to remember, Rewalt came into the side, and for 2002, 2003, he was centre-half back. And he won a best and fairest in 2002 in his first year at centre-half back.
Yeah.
Or in his second year at centre-half back. So, like, I don't know. I just don't think that there's a couple of things that are concerning me with the coaching now that have become very obvious. And that's, one, what I was talking about, the transition and how we're trying to play our football and a new game plan that's just not for us. The second one is making moves when moves need to be made and not being able to do it, or not being able to counteract moves that have been made against us. And this is where you pipe up all the time and say, I'm sick of hearing about coaches who have made these master strokes and everything like that. The fact is we don't know how to counteract it. Like, it's... You saw Scrimshaw go forward in that second half. He's a centre-half back. He's a lovely left-footed kick. He's tall. He can take a great mark. Sam Mitchell goes, geez, we're falling down on the forward line like Mitchell Lewis has done with his knee. He's going off. Cozzy can barely move. Let's chuck Jack Scrimshaw down there, because I reckon he's got, you know, he can play forward. He's one of the smartest blokes on our team. Put your smarts up forward. Very simple coaching move. And it works. It pays dividends almost immediately. All right, well, now we're going to get our midfield involved. You know, midfielders push forward, kick goals.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Yeah.
They can make the move. They can afford to make that move. But because we're so scared about making finals, we don't tend to pull the trigger.
Yeah, well...
And the only move that we've ever made is putting Membry behind the ball, which I don't mind. Don't get me wrong. There's times where Membry should go behind the ball, but it's not after they've kicked 4 goals. It's after they've kicked 2.
Yeah.
You know? So, and as soon as he gets that ball, the game stops. You know, the game slows down. That's when you got to start running, though. That's when you got to start doing your circle work and providing leads and hitting targets and everything like that. And that's how you control the game. But
if you were in the coach's box, what would be one of your moves that you would have done that you haven't seen them make?
On the weekend, we had physical imposition on the half forward line with Ben Long, and he was our best physical player.
Yeah,
and we lacked it in the back line in the second half. Put him there.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a great call.
Put him there and hit some bodies. You know, if you're going to run forward, you're going to regret it.
Yeah, get Sinks out of there. Put
The
him in the
game's
middle.
going to stop for you. The game will stop. I'll give away a free kick, but the game's going to stop for you.
Put Sinks in the midfield.
Yeah.
Get Long back.
Or even put Sinks to full forward. You know?
Yeah. Has he
And
played much midfield time, Sinclair, this second half of the year?
I don't
not as
think
much
a heap.
as-
I think we've relied on him too much coming out of
the
that back
back,
line.
yeah.
Since Steele's come back, he's gone back to that old role.
And as soon as Sicily went down into the back line, that's where I was thinking, get Long down there.
Yeah.
You know?
He would
off his
milk a
game.
free kick off Sicily, I reckon, pretty quickly.
Yeah, he'd either milk a free kick or you saw James Sicily in the first quarter fumble that ball over the line.
Yeah.
I've never seen James Sicily nervous like that.
Yeah.
He was worried that contact was coming and contact didn't come. Contact him. You know?
Yeah.
Hit him.
Let him know you're
Yeah, he'll
there.
second guess again.
He wants the
Yeah.
season to be over. He's sick of us getting hit every week.
Yeah, that's
He's-
exactly right.
If their forwards went down and they were pretty much 2 men down by the end of the game, whatever it was, why did we still persist with Sharman in the back line? Why couldn't we have exploited and gone, all right, let's get all the big boys down there.
Yeah.
Let's get them all down there. We're kicking 6 goals in this last quarter.
Yeah.
He persisted in the back line.
I don't
We didn't
get it.
need
Yeah.
him there. They had one tall.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, well, if you want to put Membry as that big body down there, chuck Sharman forward.
Yeah.
We know he's got forward craft and leading ability
And we
and
were
everything
missing
like that. Yeah, and his jukes haven't been great this game, so put him where he's comfortable. Like, he's been getting his fist to everything, which means he's getting there first to everything. Put him in front of the ball, and then you start to sort of you rebuild your team around the game that's happening in front of your eyes.
Yeah.
But not enough magnets are moving for me. And Ratton came out and said, we want players that can play in every position, or multiple positions. When?
Yeah.
When are you
what's
going to
the
do
point?
it?
Yeah.
When are you going to pull that trigger? Like, yeah, sure, you put Cooper Sharman across the half back line, but that was only reactive because Dougal Howard went down.
Yeah, and Howard's back this week potentially.
Is he?
So
We need him.
Yeah,
But we'll talk about that.
we'll talk about that soon.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
Sharman could well find himself.
Jeez, you're a natural.
in
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
He's already running
The
part of
one
the
thing I want to know is, what do you think of Patton at the moment? Do you think he'll go back to All Australian? Like, he was almost an All Australian,
In
and this
2020.
year
Yeah.
he looks timid. He looks scared. He looks maybe a little soft.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with him.
I put that in the inbox today.
It's funny that everyone's saying that this week because a few junk mails came through and there's a few we'll talk about next.
I was
Yeah.
going to say, do we want to save it for junk mail?
We can save it because I think there is a pen button
All right.
question.
Sure.
Yeah.
But-
It's going to be you that sent it in.
But everyone's bringing up this week when he's had like career best numbers.
Yeah.
And, like he had one of his better statistical games. I'm surprised it wasn't 2 weeks ago when we were struggling, but this
Yeah.
week when he actually
Maybe he's
played
a
well.
bit of a Lenny in that you don't see the impact he has. Because so many Lenny Hayes games I would watch, I would leave the game and like, he had 30 and he was just tackling everyone. And and maybe because Patton's he's good close to the ball, we don't get that from the game.
Yeah, and he's not that explosive. Oh, wow, I noticed him. Like, if Brad
Yeah.
Hill has 30 possessions,
Yeah.
you notice every possession. But with Patto,
Yeah.
like you say, he's not. He takes the risk-free option every time and doesn't open up the game.
He's
Maybe,
not-
maybe it's next year because this is his first year back from a
I was
broken
going to
leg.
say, sometimes players don't come back from that and they're never the same.
Yeah.
Like Tom Mitchell hasn't been in Brownlow form since he's...
I think Patto's done all right in his return.
Who's broken their leg and done well?
How did
Nathan Brown changed. He was done after that.
But he was super
Michael
old.
Voss.
He was old when he broke his leg.
Nah, he was still in
Nathan
his...
Brown was incredible. Though,
He-
before
yeah,
his
and that was that
broken leg.
2005 season, and he was going to win the Brownlow and the Colt.
Don't remind him, though. He likes to bring that up.
That was some cool footy, though.
Yeah.
That was some cool footy. But, yeah, anyway,
We'll get into junk mail.
we'll get into junk mail now, because
Easy.
we're getting into Richmond territory. I don't want to
Nah, we don't wanna go there.
Don't want to talk about Wayne Gasper.
Actually, Campbell came into mind the other day, and
No.
anyway, we'll get stuck into Jakey's junk mail now.
Jakey's junk mail. Jakey's junk mail. Jakey's junk mail.
Now, listeners, you won't hear it or see it on the audio or visual, but Deano was chopping me out there on the Jakey's junk mail. I was, Jakey's junk mail, and then yeah, so he's got the little guitar stabs going in there. It was just fantastic.
That was?
Yeah, it was the guitar stabs. Yeah.
I want listeners to write in if anyone gets to sing it out loud when you're listening to the potty. Because I reckon there's a few out there that love that little guitar lick.
What do you do it on weeknight commutes or?
Driving into work in the morning, long commute, favourite thing. Love getting the potty up, and then the
that really gets
in
you,
the car. In the car,
I'll send you the isolated guitar part for you, so you can listen to it all the way through.
We're going nuts.
Yes. Get the remix for you.
I don't know if I have that stamina for a 40-minute commute.
All right, are you ready? This one's from Darcy. He says, I'm as stressed as any Saint, but why can't we just enjoy the win? I feel as though some Saints fans get caught up in the media and ladder position and can't recognise a team with a new coach throwing everything at us. True or no? Do we get a bit caught up in the emotion sometimes?
I think that's part of it, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's part of the whole ride. I think the only time that I will never be caught up in the emotions of my football club is when we finally hold up that cup. I will just be eternally happy.
Yeah.
That'll be done. So I think it's normal to get caught up in the emotions. Brett Ratton's presser, I don't know if there's a question about that in Jakey's junk mail. There is. So is there?
Maybe, no idea.
Yeah, but he was like, why can't we just get around St Kilda? Like, we just won. So, but it's the style of winning. No one celebrates messy football.
So did Rat sense that fans weren't quite happy straight after the
media.
game? Oh, okay.
I think it was a shout to the media because,
fair.
I think maybe the players have been feeling the pressure of it. So I think he was standing up for his boys. But, I just think that we get proven right. They get proven right too often about the St Kilda Football Club, and we have to fucking bury our heads and cop it. It's just...
Yeah.
It's frustrating. Like, to let a side back in. You saw Richmond do it to Brisbane, and now Brisbane are under the hammer. Thank God they've taken the microscope off of St Kilda Football Club. But, that's us. That's St Kilda in a nutshell, what happened at Brisbane on the weekend. And it happens to us far too often for us to think that we're a real chance of getting anywhere, especially if we're just fighting for a spot in the 8 and we're not just there after an 8-3 start. So, I think it's all well and good to win, but I'm only watching 3/4 of 4 quarters of footy on the replay. I don't want to watch that last quarter.
Well,
why?
Happiness is a function of expectations, and Sainers have big expectations. You started the year, I was so happy watching the first 8 rounds of footy, and my expectations are high for this club. So when I see that happen, where we got 3/4, I'm like, oh, please be on again. Yeah. And then you get that fourth quarter. Yeah. It's kind of a mini picture of what our seasons felt like in terms of that micro thing.
It's a flash in the pan.
Yeah.
There's some good footy. Oh, but it's not.
Yeah, and it was like the 2020 to 2021 season. It's just hard to transition back to average Saints footy because we've waited 10 years for good footy, a good top 4 team.
Yeah. I think
and we were close this year.
Next year's tagline, Rats, I think it's a non-negotiable.
Yeah.
This year, what was it?
Why not us?
Yeah. Next year, prove them wrong. Just prove them wrong.
Yeah.
Separate us from the media.
Yeah.
Let them write what they want, but just keep proving them wrong because like you said, too often we prove them right.
Yeah, I was going to say, how about sticking to promises?
Yeah.
That's the big one for me, is like, you're at the footy and your mate says, I'm going to go get us something to eat.
Yeah.
And do you want anything? He's I'd love a pie. And he just completely forgets about your pie, and he comes back and you're hungry. And you're like, where's my pie? Where's my fucking pie?
Except it's a premiership.
Yeah, I was going to say, you got 3 sauces for yourself and a hot dog. Where's my pie? Where's our pie? When do we get the big 4 and 20 meat pie?
Well, have we got the ingredients to bake it first?
That's exactly right. Like, there's just so many if-buts.
Is the oven even on?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not even the pie. It's like, I want us to get a granny, but to smash the team in. I want the pie and the beer on the side and
imagine if
chips and the chips and they just go above and beyond expectations. I want to be wowed. I want to be wowed.
Yeah, Yeah. That's this
He
logo.
set the
Wow, Nick.
expectation
I want to be
there.
wowed.
Why not
Rats.
us? I want to be wowed.
Wow.
Same footy next year.
That would
right.
not sell well.
No.
Next one's from Nick. He's got a few dot points here, so he's gone for the podcast discussion. Ben Long should be a starter for his pressure and mind games. He is hard at the ball and has no fear.
Yeah.
Tick. Saints have been missing some leadership. Is Hannah's an answer? I think we talked about it earlier, and he could well be.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's not a long-term answer.
No.
We'll get through.
Is Sinclair? If Sinclair isn't an All-Australian lock, F the selectors. Fair
Which
call.
is Nick Rewald.
Yeah. He won't pick him, I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Wilkie All-Australian squad contention based on stats.
Yes.
Would have
Yeah.
to be.
Media traction as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
People have started talking
He's
about
played
it.
the second most amount of game on field this season, averaging 98.4% of his
not-
season on field.
Not only that, but kept all the opponents
Yeah.
he was
He's
on
never
the
benched.
weekend.
He's never
goalless.
benched.
He kept Lewis and
Yeah.
Kaczynski goalless.
Yeah.
And then he goes on to say, P.S. should have a celebrity impression special. Potty fans nominate potty host to impersonate celebrities. Not happening. I think Joyce
I'll
is
impersonate
shaking
my
his head.
brother.
Yeah.
The Emperor.
What's Matt Marsh's like go-to tagline outside of Yip Yip? Is there anything else
Outside
you
of
love
Yip
saying?
Yip.
It is yip yip.
Nah, but there's got to be something else. Nothing?
I feel like
Scrumptious? I know he
Wait,
said
he
that.
loves-
loves
listeners.
he loves scrumptious.
Yeah.
I think he really loves saying, "Oh, you bastard!" Like
Oh,
when
yeah,
he
he
watches
does.
footy.
Yeah, true,
Yeah.
true.
Like,
yeah.
"Oh, you bastard!" Like an old person.
I know where that comes from as well. It's from the old bloke getting scared in that
Yeah.
meme. He's like, "Oh, you bastard!"
Any Home Alone line generally works well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Any Home Alone. Yeah, good movie.
great movie, great flick.
Yeah.
The Saints are a bit like Home Alone, aren't they? Like with the finals,
Well,
we want to.
Are we the bandits? Are we
Yeah, I
the
was
wet
going to
bandits?
say.
We're bandits trying to do
Is
the job, don't get it done, get caught.
Yeah. Or the
No.
family goes off on holiday and leaves us
But
behind.
more,
Yeah, we're the
but
mum.
more so, we're trying to make finals, but we always leave it last minute. And we try and get to the airport and we realise we forgot Kevin, but Kevin's the metaphorical last win. Oh,
We've got a pie
We've just got
metaphor
Marshy
and
in the
Home Alone
CEO.
metaphors.
Oh, you are seriously just like a carbon copy. This is fucking brilliant. Like, we're not missing a thing.
I know, we'll just let him run.
I was going to say, Marshy's lost his job.
Yeah. Sorry, mate, you're done.
Nah, it's all good. There was a lot in there. The Ben Long one, I love seeing Ben Long every week, but I think sometimes he does go a bit off the boil and can go missing.
Yeah.
But when we're devoid of anyone giving effort, Ben Long is always there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was
100%.
throwing himself at the ball on the weekend and just tapping it forward, trying to get it to advantage.
The
Yeah.
pass
and,
to
like,
King. The
Yeah.
inside out, the banana.
Yeah, the banana.
Brilliant.
That
Like,
was
he's
a
just-
brilliant kick.
Yeah.
He's just got some special things about him that we're just not making the most of, and we don't put enough,
Yeah. Jack
Up in.
Loney was like that. I know people hate him, but he always
He just didn't have the
threw
size.
himself. He wasn't big enough.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
he was just too small. Yeah.
Alrighty, this one's from Taylor. If there was a Coleman medal for behinds, Max King is currently leading the league with 36 behinds this season
Yeah.
and
Oof.
kicked less goals than those behind him on that list. At what point do we stop saying he's just developing? Our forward line seems to do better when they don't play their game around King, getting tired of poor kicking and half-ass efforts most of the time.
Well, useless AFL stats shout out.
Did they do that?
They've got the inaccurate goal kicking team of the year, and so far, the rolling All Australian theme for the inaccurate team is that Max King is the captain.
Oh, wow.
really?
Yeah.
That's
He's got-
great.
Max King returns as captain this week in the rolling All Australian inaccurate team at full forward, 2 goals 5.
2 goals 5. He averages 2 goals 4, I think,
Oh, wow.
a game. That's
Is
his
he
average.
kicking too much from the boundary again, though? Like
just-
he's inaccurate.
Yeah, he's just in.
He does get some good
He
set
sounds
shots,
like a
though.
centre half forward.
Yeah,
He does,
Sounds
yeah.
like a centre half forward.
He'll
sounds
probably
like a
kick-
Rui.
It sounds like Rewalt, because Rewalt wasn't elite in front of sticks.
Yeah.
He was like this. He
Yeah,
could have
yeah,
his
yeah.
2 goal 5 games.
Yeah, exactly right.
And he has the same emotional reaction as Rewalt when he kicks for goals as well.
Yeah.
Like Rewalt always yelled at himself, I
Yeah.
feel.
Yeah. But for Rewald, I feel something always stuck with me with Rewald, and that was that any time I saw him do something with his hand, it was in his left hand, and every time I saw him do something with his boot, it was on his right boot, and I'm like, the bloke's a left-hander. and a right footer. Like, you watch him play cricket, he's a left-arm bowler, left-arm batsman, or maybe a right-hand batsman. But, yeah, everything with his legs, he was a right-foot kick.
Yeah.
So I think his balance was never quite right and his grip never felt good with the football. So, and he didn't fix it until very late in his career.
What's King's problem?
King's problem
Spinning
is that we just don't want to fix him. We think
Can
he's
he
too
just not
perfect.
spin it for one game and just see what happens?
Yeah, I can tell you right now, King's problem, every time I see him looking at going for goal, not so much the spinning the ball in the hands or anything like that, but he doesn't stop looking at the goals.
Yeah.
First goal, like, if I was at St Kilda goal kicking coach, my first thing that I would say to them, the goals aren't moving. They're not going from side to side. You're not at the arcade trying to play, you know, any sort of game there, ice ball or anything like that. They're not moving. Stop looking at him.
Yeah. But
Now,
how much...
You know where you are on the field. You know where your toe should be pointing. Don't stop looking at the goals. Like, and that was the one thing that I always noticed with Tony Lockett.
Yeah, just look down, look at the ball, kick
Look at the ball. He looked at the goals, and then as soon as he started running in, he was looking in front of him, making sure he was keeping on that straight line. And if I keep on that straight line, well, the goals are right in front of me, aren't they?
Yeah, same.
So, Kingy, stop looking at the goals, mate. They're not going to move.
Yeah. This one's from Tom. Fellas love the pod. Oh, thanks very much.
Yeah,
you
thank
can say
you.
thanks as well.
Thanks, mate.
There you
Yeah.
go.
And the last thing I was going to say on that one as well, even if you're not drunk and a police officer says get out of your car and walk on that white line, how many of you guys do you reckon you could walk straight on that white line looking up?
Not many.
Not many.
Yeah.
Nah,
Sober.
you got to look down at the line.
Yeah.
Like, you got to know where you're walking.
Yeah.
So anyway, that would be my simple fix for him.
Yeah.
But yeah.
This one's from Tom. So loves the pod, as he said. Thanks, mate.
Thank you,
Not
Tom.
a question, but I'm convinced we've been playing poorly just so we can come back into form this weekend and upset the Cats again for the second time this year. Most importantly, on their
Someone
home
wake
turf.
Kevin up.
He's Tom's a bit excited. He reckons we're
What are you,
just.
Joe Pesci?
Are we just
You're
putting
thirsty
a,
for more.
putting the
I've got
Cats?
the beanie on.
You do actually. We need the flamethrower just through the top of it.
Yeah,
Shave it off.
singe it off. Yeah.
I don't know if we're doing that on purpose to get the Cats into a false sense of security. I feel like
In terms of
playing bad footy
Yeah.
lately
No.
to trick the Cats.
yeah,
No.
But the Cats will be thinking about the last time we played them, and they'd be worried that we could bring that again.
yeah.
But our run home's been brutal as well. Like, we've played... the last two games were the first easy games we've had in ages.
Yeah, and we won both.
And we won both pretty convincingly. Like,
Yeah, in parts.
Yeah. I was gonna
almost
say,
convincingly on the weekend.
until
but,
we decided we didn't want to get injured in that last quarter.
But, like,
Yeah.
Carlton we beat. We struggled against Freo, Sydney, and
Dogs.
Bulldogs are good.
Yeah,
They're a good team.
they're coming together.
They're coming
do you
together.
reckon-
They almost took it. They took it to Geelong, who are a good team.
Yeah,
And-
Geelong had to play their very best football to win.
Yeah, that
Like
third term.
Dangerfield went back to old Dangerfield.
It was just the third term. That
yeah,
went nuts.
yeah, the premiership turn.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Quarter. Yeah. But I liked what Bulldogs did against Geelong. They made the ground big. That is how Geelong gets sides. They squeeze them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They make them look straight forward instead of side to side, and they absolutely squeeze the life out of them. So take note of that, St Kilda, and I think we will do well with that sort of game plan coming out of defence, because
Yeah.
we've got a much better rebounding defence than Bulldogs do. So
Yep.
yeah.
This one's from Ryan. Hey guys, question for Jake's Junk Mail. Firstly, love the pod all the way from Perth as well, which is
Oi.
awesome. Would you trade Billings at the end of the season? We've never been able to see his full potential, and he's struggling to stay fit and not being able to get a consistent run of games without getting injured.
That's my biggest concern now. Is like, you know, we always knew that he hasn't reached his full potential, but now that he's doing hamstrings,
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, probably not.
Who would want him?
Oh, probably someone like North.
North would want him.
Yeah, they'd want some skill.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't.
I don't really care who. I mean, we'll just
Yeah.
Any
He's a good
team.
bloke. Like, he's a good clubman. Yeah.
Last 2 years, he's been riddled with injuries, hasn't he? He hasn't.
Yeah.
And he always played his best footy first 5 rounds. I swear he's like
Yeah.
always in like that Brownlow contention.
Yeah. In the first fight. Yeah, he's spot on.
Like-
spot on.
He's not. And that tells me his best footy is limited by his body, because after 6 rounds, is his
Yeah.
body breaking down
I reckon
and he
he's-
can't play it.
Yeah. So, has he got a back injury at the moment?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I reckon he's never had a good back. And I reckon we've known that for a long time, because he is the worst balanced player I've ever seen trying to turn.
Punches.
But it's not about like, I don't think his posture's that bad, but every time he tries to turn, he falls over. I just don't
Can
think
you just give us a bit of a Billy's turn?
Well, I've got a bit of a swivel here on my chair. But like, I just don't. Every time he's got the ball, chuck us the footy. Every time he's got the ball here, and he goes to pivot around and turn the football with him, straight away he goes to ground. Which means that he's got no flexibility through his hip and his back.
Is he like Zoolander? You can't turn left.
Yeah, great. But yeah, I think he's got no flexibility through his back, which in turn gives you awful hamstring issues and lower leg issues. And that's where I kept doing hamstrings as well, because I got bad hip flexors.
I want to see him play half forward, like for a full season though.
Don't even start.
Oh, mate.
Because we've talked about this every second week.
Every
pre-season, they said he's going to be forward pocket.
Yeah.
He's not a winger. He's not going to play in the guts.
But yeah.
He's going to play with Higgins and Butler, and Gresh is going to be that.
Yeah.
That
Well,
mid. It never happened.
Would a first round pick entice you to moving Billings?
We're not getting a first round pick.
No, second round, 19, 20, 21.
You'd think about
Gold Coast would love that. Or like, I don't
it.
know.
Gold Coast, you reckon?
I was going to
I
say,
know.
you got to coffee him up to North Melbourne and get picks from North Melbourne, because
Yeah.
they're going to have
They're going to
picks.
have plenty.
That's
Gold
exactly
Coast
right.
have
They've
got plenty too, though.
Yeah, true. They do.
But
have
why
picks
would
to play with.
why would Jack Billings want to play for North Melbourne?
They'll pay him well.
McDonald is his best mate.
Is he?
Yeah. Yeah. So him and McDonald are.
We'll get
close
Horn
mates.
Francis.
Let's go out together in
Oh,
relevancy.
Horn Francis.
We'll get Horn Francis and give away
Yeah,
JB.
bloody.
First round in Billings for.
for Horn Francis.
Oh, I'd give him future first round.
yeah,
as well.
no, that's actually decent.
I was going to say first round, Billings, future first round. Like, just
Do
yeah,
it.
get it in.
yeah.
All right. This one's from Sam, and this is for Ben Patton, as we were mentioning. Sam's got some thoughts on Patto.
Yeah.
Hey man, hope you're well. For the pod, want to bring up a discussion about Ben Patton. Great, reliable one-on-one small defender, can lock a player down, which is great, and it's this that earns him a spot every week.
Yep.
But his awareness, disposal, and tackling ability is something that worries me. He's a boring player, no offense. Not a terrible kick, but non-inventive, and never opens up the game for us.
Yeah.
He gives away frees with his lazy tackling, and his spatial awareness in traffic is average. Even before we gave him the role as a lockdown small defender, his role in the team was always in dispute. Should he still be a regular in our team week in, week out? I'd like to see someone like Connolly get a run and possibly give Sinclair more midfield minutes when needed.
Yeah.
Also, line it on the wing. It's a no from me.
Yeah. Spot on. Line it on the wing can go
Yeah.
away. Yeah, look, that's right. And I think that we're finding out with our backline, because we've been so creative this year coming out of the backline with our Wilkies, Sinclair moving back there's just been a masterstroke. Brad Hill at times, and then the likes of Webster, Howard. I just think that he's not up to scratch with his skills. So it's like you're bringing in another bloke that's kind of that Jaron Geary, but Jaron Geary was never in a successful team.
Yeah.
He might have the heart and the soul. I don't think he goes as hard as Geary goes. Like, don't get me wrong, Ben Patton's not scared.
No, he's not.
But he does look like a bit of a rabbit in the headlights when he does have ball in hand.
I think maybe it's hard to judge because we're not behind the scenes,
Yeah.
but how much of, the coaches drill into him, you are a stopper. If you could give him a name, you have to stop your opponent.
Yeah.
We don't care if you have one touch.
Yeah. Oh,
Just
the jobs
stop
he's
your
done
opponent.
on, like, Toby Green.
But that's what I mean.
Yeah,
Is he so focused on his defensive game that he's literally thrown out his offensive game?
Yeah,
He's
and that
not
could
even
be it.
considering it.
Yeah, but we're not helping him.
Yeah.
If that's the case, we're not helping him as a team, because I've never seen a bloke this so many times in a season that kicks it into the bloke in front of him. Like for some
He kicks
reason,
it very low, doesn't he?
yeah, but he always manages to have a bloke where you are, and I'm
Yeah.
trying to kick over you. So he's like always trying to kick over, and they just get a hand on it, and it smothers and dribbles away. Like he does it all the time, and I think that's not only. He gets himself into the position where he is the last link in the chain coming out of defence, which is great because you're getting yourself into the right position and you're doing a lot of hard running, but you're also not the bloke to be doing that.
Yeah.
So he needs to be able to, every time that he gets the ball, he kind of holds up. You've got to keep moving. You've got to keep that pace going, and almost sometimes you've got to absorb that tackle. You've got to be strong. Like Sinclair, he's unforgiving. When he's that last link in that chain or that breakaway defender, he'll take on tacklers and he'll keep moving and he'll keep moving. And Brad Hill even does it. He'll try and stop.
Yeah.
You know, he'll put an arm out. He gets caught, but you know.
Wasn't there a passage in the game on the weekend where Patto actually ran straight through the guts and took a shot from 50?
Yeah, there
Maybe.
was. Yeah. There was.
That was nice.
Like he pushed up. That's what he did in 2020. He was
I'd
really
love
driving.
to go back and watch a game from 2020.
Yeah.
Just to remind myself of like who he is,
He
who
had,
he was.
He had
Yeah.
like twinkle toes in 2020 where he
Yeah.
got the ball and he kind of identified who was coming at him, and he
Yeah.
would basically just shimmy and go.
Yeah.
Yes,
And they couldn't
yeah.
get him.
Yeah.
Like he would just fly away like really
Yeah.
quickly. He's got pace.
Yeah.
I don't think he just doesn't want
It's
to
just
use
that
it.
confidence coming back, I think, after that leg.
It's like
I
our whole
want
team.
to see the game next year, how he looks after a really good preseason.
Yeah.
And yeah,
We owe it to him. We broke his leg, so
Yeah, it's not-
rough head
the
owes it him.
work experience kid broke his leg. So
Yep. Alrighty. This one's from Madeline. Why isn't Naz getting a game? I feel like I've missed something.
yeah,
Why
I think
isn't he
I think
getting
he's
a game?
dealing with a leg injury. I
Yeah?
think he's dealing with a calf or an
He's
Achilles.
played for Sandy the last 2 weeks, I think.
We
Yeah.
would have loved to see him at Hawthorn because he tore them up last time
Yeah,
he
he
played
did,
against
yeah.
them. Do you reckon he needs to come in Geelong? I know we might talk about that later.
Who was
But
this?
Yeah.
Nazaya.
I think he loves having the space to move.
Yeah.
And I don't think you don't get space to move on Geelong, but that can counteract in the fact
Yeah.
that like maybe we do need that to create some space. Like maybe he's one of the ones that can really force the ball out wide on a smaller ground and make it look bigger than it is. So yeah, I think the ball movement's very important on the weekend. So I think you're right. Maybe we should bring him in.
Do you think the Saints, like, I love Butler and I won't slander him, but do you think like Nazaya might be a good in for Butler out? Like someone who uses the
I don't
ball
think you
really
drop
well?
Yeah,
Not quick.
I don't think you drop Butler.
No.
I think they play very, very different roles. I think if you take
You
someone
can't
out
ask
and lean it-
Nazaya to play that role of a pressure forward.
I think I think you can, but I think he's too valuable trying to get up the ground. So like maybe we can put him on a half forward flank, but in that instance we need to move Hanbury up to the wing and drop lean it
Yeah.
potentially. So
Okay.
yeah.
But if he's that valuable in a wing, why is he playing? Like, I'm talking about Nazaya.
yeah.
Why?
Why isn't he playing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think he's got a lower leg injury.
You think he's got
yeah.
a
Yeah.
deal? Yeah.
Ah,
This one's from Adzi. Is it better long term for this team not to make finals? Very undeserving season as a whole. So, is it better that we miss or is it better that we make it?
hard no.
I think given
Hard
our
no,
fixture,
yeah.
I think given our fixture, if we make it, of course it's deserving.
We deserve it. Yeah, absolutely.
We would have notched up 13 to 14 wins,
yeah.
which is
The most since 2010.
which is the most since 2010,
Yeah.
and we would have beaten 2 top 4 teams in that time, maybe 3 depending on how we go.
Yeah.
And then we've beaten Geelong and
Yeah.
some of these teams already earlier in the year. So
Yeah. And-
Did losing improve those Richo teams, you think? Did they, because they didn't make
Yeah.
finals for
Yeah.
ages,
No.
did they come out every season like, oh, we've really got to have a crack
you-
next year?
you would have thought after 2017, 2018 was
Yeah.
the year, and it wasn't even close.
No,
No, we won 4 games for the
no,
year.
because we missed out ninth quite a few times
Yeah.
around that. So I would say no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, but to be the best, you got to beat the best.
And
So-
we're going to find out.
and we're going to find out over the next 3 weeks because Brett Ratton's only won 11 games in a year for us. I think
Yeah.
that was our 11th win on the weekend.
Yes.
We had 11 wins in 2020, and that was a fortunate draw because
Yeah.
it was the most even fixture there's ever been in an AFL
And also
competition.
less games.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
It was-
yeah.
You only played everyone once. So you got to make the most of your opportunities in that one game.
Yeah.
And you didn't really have time to to let a game slip. So I think that, we won 11 games that year, which was including the elimination final. We won 10 games last year. So we still haven't won more than 11 games in a year. And if we're going to improve in a football club, we need to win more than 11 games this year.
Yep.
To show any sign of improvement.
100%.
Yeah.
Last one from Kieran, and it's a big one.
Big one.
Talked
On
about
you,
him yet.
Kieran.
Will Zach Jones play again in 2022?
Love that question.
Yeah,
Will
that's a
he
good
play
one.
another game
Love
for the
it.
year?
Uh,
Because he played for Sandy last week.
yeah.
They had the bye this week, so he hasn't played again. Are you bringing him in against
So we got
Geelong off the
Geelong,
back
Brisbane,
of Sydney?
and Sydney.
I mean, you can't pick one where he's better
More
to play than
valuable.
others because they're all hard.
yeah,
So
I think
when
that
do you pull the trigger?
I was going to say the trigger could be Sydney, and
You
I
reckon?
think it could be either Brisbane or Sydney, but he comes in with a different role, and his role is to tag.
He could
And-
play a angry forward role, couldn't he?
Yeah, he could, but he doesn't have any skill, and he doesn't
What
have any
about
football
backline?
smarts.
Backline.
Backline.
That's where
He's
Sydney
he's
hit
played
him.
half back in
Yeah,
Sydney.
Yeah, he was good
And
there.
we'll just go, we really want you to... Does he have the attitude to be able to cop being knocked back to the twos and then not be able to re-enter that team?
Yeah,
Because he's someone who gets cranky in games.
yeah,
There was an incident in the Sandy game where he actually cost
did
him
he?
a free kick, I think.
yeah.
Okay.
I read it in the post-game
Yeah.
write-up, and I just wonder it'll really test his maturity as a footballer, I think,
Yeah.
in the next few weeks, because he's someone who might believe that he belongs in this team
Yeah,
and deserves to get a game rather than based on his form.
yeah.
And with
yeah.
Hannanbury back too,
Yeah.
makes
exactly
it even
right.
harder for him to find a spot.
Because he was so valuable in 2020.
Yep.
Like, he was so and then we missed him quite a bit in 2021.
Has he lost
With
his
his
step
injuries.
a little?
Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking. Maybe he's lost his step a little, but I think that this also ties into the fact that we're playing a completely different game. Like, he was so for that fast-running, manic game of football where we just kept the ball moving, because you didn't have to particularly be that skilled to play
Yeah.
that style of football, and Richmond showed that for 5 years. So
He used
I
to
think
be
he fell into
yeah.
that. He would be a superstar at Richmond.
Yeah, he used to be so great on the wing handball chains like we were talking before.
Yeah, spot on. Yeah,
And I just loved watching how he changed the team. Like, he was a bit of...
Yeah.
He was the engine.
yeah,
Yeah,
But
he was.
He was the
unfortunately-
instigator.
He was the instigator, and now I haven't seen that enough from him this year.
Yeah, I think it's because we're now asking more of players to be more skillful, and I
Yeah.
don't think he's up to it. So,
Yep. Well,
yeah.
There you go.
Jakey's Junk Mail. Done and dusted.
Done
How was
and
your first
dusted.
Jakey's Junk Mail, mate? You enjoy it?
Fantastic.
It's the best
Yeah?
segment. It's the best segment. We love it. We love it.
Yes. Especially
Alrighty.
after a win when no one's sad.
Yeah,
And
that's
angry.
exactly right. Now,
Absolutely.
Now, the big one.
the big one.
The big
Now,
preview.
first of all, this preview is brought to you by the Bentley Social. Make sure you get down there Saturday night from 5 p.m. onwards, because the Saints TV disco is running hot.
Oh, it's going to be big.
It's running hot.
Let's get over 200 Saners there.
Let's get 200 Sainers there.
We've been close. We're going to do it.
We've been
And
on
are
the
you
precipice.
going to be doing anything?
Absolutely, I'm going to be doing anything.
Beautiful.
Absolutely, yeah. I'll get out the guitar and we're going to be playing a few tunes. I kicked
Absolutely.
off proceedings last week with a bit of
Yeah.
Holy Grail, and that,
Oh, that
really,
was good.
really got the Saints going. And I did something that St Kilda Football Club has failed to do this year, and pump up the crowd
Yeah.
before the game
Oh,
with a bit of U2 Green Day.
they used to do
The
that though.
Saints are coming. Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like, and don't worry, it's not me singing it. That wasn't very good. So I play it through the loudspeakers. You get the vibe.
What about
The
like
vibe
a
is there.
post game jam if they win? I want to
we
see
are the-
Joycey firing up and just going nuts on the guitar
Going nuts.
after
Oh,
a win.
If we beat Geelong on the weekend,
If
we're all
you-
going nuts on the
Yeah,
weekend.
yeah.
you
exactly
getting the electric out, shredding,
Just shredding all over the
bit
place.
of Master of Puppets.
Yeah,
I knew you were going to say that.
After Stranger
Yeah,
Things,
yeah,
I
yeah.
loved it. But yeah,
Well, I've got. What are your thoughts on the marching band at Marvel before the game? And then,
yeah.
have you noticed when they announce the team on the big screen, they play Peking Duck, but they play it at such a low volume that you can't hear anything other than the MC?
Yeah, it's because the oldies complain about it.
Oh,
You serious?
really?
Yeah.
It's football.
Yeah. There's such a divide at the moment.
Guess what? You can watch it from home and you can put the volume down.
There's such a divide at the moment between me and my dad because he's starting to complain about noise and he's really showing his age. And that's what I'm saying. How else do you get atmosphere in a stadium?
Go to Adelaide Oval. Have you been to Adelaide Oval?
Yeah, it's massive.
No.
They pump it. Perth Stadium. They pump it.
Brisbane, pump it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's an event.
Yeah.
Gold Coast.
They do.
Oh, they do.
Even GWS. They all do.
GW.
Marvel is the only stadium that's just dead quiet as the players walk out. And then at halftime, this probably isn't the club, but it still annoyed me now that we're on a little mini rant. They showed the highlights of the first half as the players were lining up in their positions after at the start of the third term. They had the whole halftime break to show highlights. Yeah. They showed it as the ball was about to be bounced. I'm like, is the first half that shit? You didn't want to show anything?
Well, they got to put it together. They got to have the time to put it together.
The editors, they get paid. Oh, it's tough.
We need an iconic song to walk out to.
It's like they're not going to put like random 3 minutes of footage in. They have to go through it and list it and put it together. I do sympathise.
I can do it. It's all good.
I like the marching band, but I just don't think it's the right time. I like to hear it when I'm walking into the game.
You don't even do the editing for the podcast anymore. Oh, yeah. Shout out to Radley.
Radley. Thanks, mate.
Outsource it to the Philippines or something.
Very, very passionate Saints TV fan. He's done a great job.
Yeah.
Good on him.
Anyway, the game at hand.
Geelong, Saturday night, prime time footy. We usually suck, but hopefully this time we don't suck. It's going to be good. We beat them earlier this year. We've got that cut off the back. So, what needs to happen this week?
A lot.
We're coming up against the strongest in-form side in the AFL right now.
On their home deck.
They are playing some unbelievable footy. They are playing some fucking good footy, and it's hard to watch because you're just like,
yeah,
they were so right about Tom Hawkins and Jared Cameron Stingle and fuck him. It just reminds me of back in the day when we had Rewalt and G-Train and Milne running together. I'm like,
yeah, you could handle Geelong being good because we were also really good.
Yeah.
And now we're not, and it's like they're still at that level.
Yeah.
Like, stop being at that level.
Yeah, exactly. But we still beat them, so...
That's it.
Yeah, I think that, like, I talked about it a bit earlier about Geelong and how they really like to compress you into the, single lanes. There's 3 lanes on there.
Yeah.
At GMHBA, and they play it like the Monash.
Yeah.
There's just constant congestion, and then there's X signs, there's 40s going everywhere, and they slow you down and compress you. And then going the other way, you're watching traffic go 100, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
So they're playing Monash freeway football, and it's working really well at GMHBA because there's only 3 open lanes. So how do we counteract that? How do we spread the ground big enough? Did we watch the Bulldogs on the weekend and saw what they did in the first half to Geelong?
Man, they couldn't sustain it.
And how can we sustain it?
That's the question.
Yeah.
I mean, the good thing is I feel like the ground there, the wings are so slim that it almost will force us to go through the guts a bit more. Because we'll look at the wings and go, fuck, that's too congested. We can't go down there. There's Tom Stewart down there.
Yeah.
Well, but Hilly's just there in the middle. Let's go for that risky kick.
We
need to be able to take
You've named the bloke that can absolutely tear
this game open, Brad Hill.
Yeah.
Hill, Sinclair, Hannah's.
Yeah.
Hannah's
really
back.
Important.
Our 3 best kicks almost.
Yeah.
They're the ones.
They're absolutely the ones. And you got to be careful because someone will go to them. I think, Jack Sinclair's probably going to cop close attention. Sinclair or Hill will cop close attention from the likes of Close.
Yeah.
Bradley Close, who's probably the fastest bloke in the AFL right now. Like, he's crazy quick. So, but you can put him off with a bit of body.
Yep.
You got to remind him that you're the defender and you're here to defend him first and foremost, and then the ball, you'll attack that when it comes. So, really wear him into the ground physically as well. But yeah, they're just like, they're a very complete side at the moment with the likes of DeKoning, who's playing, he's probably the best fullback in the competition at the moment, and he's such a young kid. Tom Stewart's back, so
that's dangerous.
That's
very dangerous.
Yeah, because did he miss the game against us?
No, Sharman played on him.
Sharman played on it. That's right.
Why we won.
Are we going to do that same thing and put Sharman to him, or are we going to do Machito?
Machito could work, but the fact that Sharman got in his head last time, I'd love to go for that same matchup, especially if Dukes is back, because then you can back Dukes, Battle and Wilkie to take whatever tools, it'd be Hawkins.
I'd still be having, I reckon, Sharman at halfback.
You wouldn't put Sharman on.
I think that he's
on a
spoiling
player that
on
he's
the
beaten
weekend.
this year already.
No, I think we need to try Machito. And we need to play Tom Stewart like we have played Tom Stewart in the past.
Yeah.
So I think that Machito Owens might get that job. And yeah, good luck to him. But I think that Sharman showed us on the weekend that his spoils are damaging.
Yeah, he punches them, doesn't he?
He punches them hard and he pushes them to the boundary line and he gets stoppages. So I think he can be the counteract down that end.
Yep.
And I think we've got to figure something else out.
I think this is a sort of game where we almost need King to be the man.
The man. Again.
He needs to... He does like playing Geelong.
Yeah, well, he kicked
always...
1 goal 7 or something.
Last year,
last
1
year,
goal
yeah.
5.
Mm.
This year he kicked 3-1 or something and was a match winner in that surge.
Yeah.
He loves playing under Koning. I feel like
he's the
invites that.
the only player in the AFL right now that Max King can outbody.
Yeah.
You know,
if he wants to
outbody.
put body on body, that is.
Yeah, and I think he does. I think he wants to initiate contact because he can actually get him.
Well, the Koning can't push him around, which is even more important.
Yeah, and Kingy's got the reach.
Well, Kingy loves just that one arm hold.
Yeah.
He tries to just hold you there and then go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's just not enough. You need to really put the shoulder into it.
Yes, yeah,
Or
you're
even
spot on.
You can push them, like it's
and push
legal.
them further
But
away
do it
from
early.
us. Yeah,
Do it early.
Do
Push.
it early.
Go.
And push away far enough from that space that you can
Hawkins.
almost dive into it.
Hawkins does that better than
Rewalt did it.
anyone.
Yeah, I was going to say Hawkins and Rewalt are the best components of that.
Well, the
that I've
G
seen.
train did it. He'd hold you at last second.
Yeah,
He'd get it,
yeah. But he didn't. He could stand under the drop of the ball and do that. King
He didn't
can't.
need to body.
He needs to stand off the drop of the ball and then dive back into it.
G-Train would body very early, though, and
Yes,
just
he did.
have that lead every time.
Yeah. So,
what about... So, if it's really congested, what about Josh Battle going back on that wing to give a bit of physicality? Because Geelong are huge.
yeah.
Like, they've got a lot of big bodies. I think Menegola plays on that wing, and it could be good to match that.
I don't
think
know if
Mason-
Menegola will play.
No?
No, so far it's just been Duncan and Smith on the wings, but Smith was so important on the weekend.
Yeah.
He had a big game.
Yeah. And
But I love what Battle does like around the ball, and maybe we can free him up, let Cooper Sharman go.
Yeah.
And maybe Battle's doing that because do Howard in.
Yeah.
Take out someone else, like a lean it, and you let Battle maybe do that role. If it doesn't work, then you're kind of screwed.
What I want to see is I want to see some magnets moving. Don't be afraid. We're going for the win here. We're not going for prevention. We're going
And
for
who wants to win more
intervention.
than but Josh Battle?
Yeah.
And like if he's in a place where he can influence in that midfield, because that's where it's going to be one midfield, I think, for Saints. We
And that's
won't get
how-
our forward line firing. We won't. Our back line will do what it does.
Yeah.
But if we can dominate with Steele there, Marshall there, Seb Ross,
Crouch.
he cares.
Yeah.
They were really good handballing around the contest last week.
And
So
that's how Doggies got on top
Yeah.
of Geelong in that first quarter. They didn't let the ball go forward. They just didn't allow the ball to go forward, and they weren't able to keep up with that.
and Geelong's midfield's not super elite. I don't
No,
think.
and it took Patrick Dangerfield going back to his super elite self to lift that midfield.
they're just very efficient.
Can he do
at
it 2
both
weeks in a
ends.
row?
They just kick goals every time it's inside 50.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
could have 30 inside 50s on the weekend to our, say, 50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they could still kick more goals than us the way they
course.
go
Yeah.
forward.
Spot
They're just
on.
so clean.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think we might need to wrap it up here because we're going very much over time. Because
Yeah, let's do it.
we're getting carried away. I just want to point out one thing, that there is a difference between you and Marshy.
Yeah.
The fact that you're in socks right now. He wouldn't be caught dead in socks. He's showing off the fresh kicks.
Yeah.
And he's making sure everyone knows about them. You're in the X-Blade. You're in the
Thank you.
2
He's
socks, so
comfortable.
I'm very comfy.
you're very comfy. That's exactly right.
Fit
Yeah.
like a glove.
Spot on.
Oh, we've got to test him now. We've got to get
Absolutely.
his predictions.
Yeah,
though.
predictions.
You can't bet against the Saints, can you? Here, but I want to see. Is it just scores, margins? We do
Whatever
No, just whatever
your
you want.
gut feeling
Whatever
is.
you
Yeah,
want.
it's whatever your heart.
Steele
Yeah,
40
yeah.
touches.
Again,
Yeah, and I don't know who's kicking our goals, but I think Memory will have 2. Long will be playing that forward line.
Yeah.
And Hunter Clark for a big game, 25 plus.
Great. Yeah, we didn't mention him, but I really enjoyed his game. I thought
He was
slowly
elite.
getting back.
He's
to
getting
his
that
best.
contested
Yeah.
ball out, handballing well. He might jump in the middle for a bit.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yep. I've got a cheeky feeling Rowe's gonna. We had a big game again on the weekend, but he didn't kick a goal.
Yeah.
I reckon he's gonna really will himself forward and kick
Yeah.
a couple.
Yeah.
And
I like that.
Just keep the momentum. Like Geelong will look like getting on top, but Rowe's going to take a mark or snap a goal out of the ruck contest.
Yeah.
And just keep St Kilda in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like Steele is the captain,
Yeah.
but when you watch the game on the weekend, you'll think that Rowe's the captain.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The way he goes about it. So I've got to. Yeah, I
was
reckon he's
gonna
going to do
say-
something special.
My gut feeling is Steele for a big game, but it's going to be a big game on the scoreboard, and he's going to kick 3.
Oh, I'd love that.
Yeah.
We need other.
Machito for free, maybe.
Oh.
Yeah. Windy could do a good tag and kick
Yeah.
a couple. Who knows?
Yeah.
They're all king goals.
Who do you want?
Yeah.
Who do you want Windy to go to?
Oh, fuck. I'd love to see him go in danger in the
Yeah.
guts.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that because
Yeah.
he would learn so much. And I reckon
so
he's
much, yeah.
he's one of the rare players that could go with him pace-wise.
Yeah.
And he's big enough already to tackle him.
I'd throw that out, and I'd put him on Atkins.
You reckon?
I think Atkins is their best midfielder at the moment. and
Really?
he's in his prime. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'd send Windy to Atkins,
And-
and you're gonna learn what angry football is about, because he's got it. So
All right.
yeah,
That Atkins has that angry footy. Yeah.
yeah, spot on. Alrighty, boys. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure.
It has.
Yeah.
Different sort of game plan tonight, and it's come off well. Gotta
Yeah,
say,
it's
we've
come
come
off
out
well.
with
The
a W
chemistry's
here.
right up there.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's huge. So, Saints fans, make sure you get down to the Bentley Social on Saturday
it,
night.
5
Make
o'clock.
sure you RSVP
Yep.
to Jake on Saints TV or on the Facebook event. Make
That's
sure
it.
you get down.
Absolutely.
It's going to be good fun. Tunes are firing. Saints playing good
10%
footy.
off food and drink.
10% off food and drinks
Good
as well.
vibes, projector screens.
It's going to be massive.
Doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Alrighty, boys. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Lovely
And,
time. Can I give a quick shout out?
Yeah.
Quick shout out to Hugh, who'll probably be listening to this on the PT. But yeah, just want to shout out Hugh, big listener. Love
Good
the
on you.
show.
Beautiful.
There we go. Good,
Good
on
on
you,
him.
Huey. Alrighty, boys. It's been an absolute pleasure. And to sign off, I've got a little bit of a joke.
Ooh, what is it? What is it, Joycey?
Yeah, here we go. A bit of a knock knock.
Who's there?
Owen.
Oh, and who?
You.